Hi, my name's Don. This is my 1931 Willys. About 2.5, 3 years ago, I got that engine. It's a 48 Chrysler straight 8 flathead. It was a display engine on its own little cart. It was given to me. I've always wanted to build a hot rod or a rat rod, but I figured that engine needed something special. So this is what I came up with. And about 2 years ago, I found the body. It was in November of 17 that I found the body in the wrecking yard, Desert Valley Auto Wreckers in Casa Grande. And as soon as I walked out the back door of the office, there it sat. And I do have pictures of that. So I took it home. I got the car home, and I stripped it down completely. I had to move the cowl, which includes the dashboard and the firewall, back on the frame 7.5 inches. So I had to lengthen because I left the steering box in the same place, I had to put an extension on the steering wheel. And that was to accommodate the 8-cylinder engine. Originally this car had a 6-cylinder flathead inline in it. And it probably did about maybe 45, 50 miles an hour downhill with a tailwind when it came out of the factory. It was a 4-door sedan, but it was beyond restoration as a 31 Willys. There was no engine, no transmission, no wiring, no floorboards, no nothing. There was just enough pieces left so that I could build these rails and put the plywood and stuff like that in there just to do what I needed to do. And I stripped it down completely to the frame, and I used grinders with wire wheels on them, and I cleaned it all by hand. Well, with the grinders, but it wasn't sandblasted or something. But when it came time to start working on the body, I looked on YouTube and I saw a guy, he made a $10 sandblaster, and I made one. And it took me 5.5 hours to sandblast everything, all the body parts. There's not too many of them really left. That valance panel, the cab, and the valance panel in the rear. And yeah, that's just about it. And it had mechanical brakes on it when it came from the factory, and there was about 50% of the parts were missing. So, and it's not like a Model A where you just go buy everything new. So I put a 1993 Chevy 10-bolt rear axle in it. It's completely rebuilt. It's got 308 gears, so it'll at least keep up with Grandma on the freeway. I've had it up to 75 miles an hour, and the car was never really meant to do that. So I don't think anything beyond 70, 75 is advisable. I've got a 2002 Nissan pickup truck brakes mounted on the 88-year-old straight axle, and the brakes are being powered by a 48 Chrysler master cylinder with no power booster or anything like that on there. And actually the brakes, they surprised me because they work pretty dang good. So it's got but it does have a modern 12-volt system in it. The wiring harness is all brand new. Took me 4 days to build it. It's got an alternator in it, like for a 64 Chevy, with a voltage regulator up here. It's got electronic Petronics electronic ignition in it. The only piece I had chromed was the grill, and that was not cheap. And there's the original Willys 6 emblem. I'm missing the rest of the pieces over here, but I got that piece off of eBay, and that's an original 31 Willys 6 emblem for this period car, for this year car. And the front leaf springs, I've rebuilt all the leaf springs. I had to replace a leaf in one of the back ones, and I added a leaf to both of the front ones to accommodate the 8-cylinder engine, to give it a little more heft. The headlamps are Harley-Davidson headlamps off of a 2016. They were brand new, and they were really light up the night. The bumpers are Model A bumpers, because it didn't have bumpers on it when I got it. The trunk is a Model A trunk. It's got a 30-gallon propane tank as a fuel tank. It's also got the original gas tank from the Willys. They're both hooked up, and then it's got one single stop and tail light, and this actually says stop when you step on the brakes, and that one down there is the tail light, and that actually says stop. And and then I built the spare tire rack for it. And if you come on over here, buddy. Matt, right? Yeah. Okay. And one of the last things I did to it was finish the exhaust from here back, and that's a Flowmaster muffler. And these are some old Chrysler brake. These are the Willys running board mounts cut down, and these are the clutch pedal and brake pedal off of the old Chrysler master cylinder, because I put new ones on the pedals. Now up here, this header and this intake manifold I built because there was no longer anything available for this vehicle, for this engine. I couldn't find any in the junkyard, and I found out too that most of them were cracked. The exhaust manifolds were cracked, and these carburetors are Zenith Stromberg. They're off a circa 1968 Jaguar, made in the UK, or Triumph or something along those lines. They're 175 CDs, and they work quite well for this application. So, and I was kind of surprised, because that just happened kind of out of the blue. So, and then of course I put my brass Roadrunner on the hood to keep it, with the Arizona theme. And but it is painted British racing green with some heavy cream, and the cream is the original color of the Willys wheels. So that's and the wheels have been blasted and powder coated. So and then I just did everything else in the cream color. The seats are Model A or Model T bucket replicas, and they come as the tin and a piece of wood underneath. And then I had the upholstery done, and that was not cheap. The dashboard is a stainless steel, burnished stainless steel, and the three panels are from a piece of old restaurant equipment that I burnished in a drill press. So, just a little bit of labor and ingenuity on it. The gauges are all brand new. They're Stuart Warner. And they're all electric except for the speedometer, which is hooked up to the thing. And right now it's got 373 miles on it. So so it'll probably have over 400 by the time I get home. So but that's it's got Harley-Davidson mirrors. The only Bondo on this car is right around these little old windshield posts, because I cut the windshield posts off, and then I welded a plate in there with a hole and a nut welded on the bottom side, so that I could screw the mirrors on there. And this area right here is the only Bondo on both sides on the whole car. So everything else is, and of course I had to make the hood, and it's got leather straps that hold it down. They're loose, but I just came down the freeway at 70, 75 miles an hour, and it doesn't move. So this handbar for the scared passengers is off of a boat, off an old junk boat, but it's stainless steel too. So, and I don't know if you noticed, but it's got two shifters in it. And The right-hand shifter, you have to pull back to get it into reverse or first. And then once you're in first, you just go like that and then into second, into second and then third. So this is only for first and reverse. But that's the way that old Dodge or Chrysler Tranny is made up. It's just a 3-speed, but it seems to work well. It kind of grinds going into gear when you're sitting still, but it's okay. You just got to learn how to drive one of these old things. But so the front shocks are Model A shocks because it didn't have any on there. The back shocks are the original lever action. These are the shocks here. They're lever action shocks. The back shocks are Monroe shocks. They're the original Willys ones. And I rebuilt those. It's very cheap. It's very inexpensive to rebuild those things. It just takes a few O-rings and that's about it. So, but the engine has been totally gone through. It's got a reground crank. It's got new bearings, rod bearings, main bearings. It's got 60 over pistons in it. It's been bored, and every piece that I put on this motor, like the water pump, was rebuilt by Kellogg Pump Service down down south of Maricopa, way out in the middle of nowhere. The fuel pump was rebuilt by a guy named Hal Hooten in Massachusetts. I had to ship every little piece off to have it rebuilt before I could put it on the car. And got a new oil pump on it. Here we'll show you how to start it. It's got like an old, you remember the old Kickstarters that were on the floor? Well, this one here, I put it up here so you can just turn the key on, and there it is. Now the engine's running, so now you can get over there and hear it. See, look how smooth that baby runs. That's how a rough straight 8 runs. Purrs. And it sounds pretty good with that Flowmaster on there. That's about it, buddy.